Hello everyone, welcome to Venom Garage. It's Bubbles. We are gonna have a play night tonight. So what I was thinking is, we have this fabulous 9-inch heart here, made out of MDF that Wombat himself kindly donated to me. And what I was thinking tonight is, what we're going to show you is just how you can make something simple look elegant, which is really cool for beginners. So what I've got is, I've got a black British Paints floating pillow. So floating pillow just means I've got quite a bit of pillow there. So if I picked that up, it would slosh around. So you'd see the paint moving. It hasn't been spun out at all on this one. So what we're going to do is, I've just got this Pebeo red paint here. And we're just going to do simple line over the top. Now, this one's a tube paint by Pebeo, and I always love a tube paint in my swipes, only because I think it's like a little bit of glue, especially with when you've got that bigger pillow, you sort of seem to spin it out a little bit more. So I think when you use that tube paint, it just seems to keep the formation of your cells really nice for you. And if you've ever seen me spin something out, I like to spin the living crap out of it when I do these, so that just helps me keep everything formed together. So now I've got a gorgeous colour here, which is our Senshi Red by Eye Candy. Isn't that gorgeous? Really got a lot of depth to this red. It's really divine. And over this red, it looks really, really beautiful. So we're going to put a big chunk of that down, because I think that's going to be our star for our swipe. Alright, so you can see we're not doing anything special. All we are doing is laying lines just over the top next to each other. So now what I've got here is an Arc Orange by Eye Candy. So I'll show you that one, because that's really a gorgeous orange. Isn't it beautiful? It's like what sunsets are made of, I swear. Look at that. So we're just going to put a little bit of that down the side here. So I think this type of swipe is actually one of the best types for beginners to start with, because you're really not doing anything that's overcomplicated or difficult. But sometimes it can just be at the end what you add to your CA, which can add that little bit of elegance just to set it off. So now I've got a custom, I think this originally started out maybe as a Arc Orange. And it's been wombatted. So in wombatted, I mean Darren's got his hands on it and given it a bit of a touch of his own. So he's turned it into a pastel. Really gorgeous. So hopefully that's going to fly us some beautiful highlights. So next one we're going to use. This one's another custom, yellow. And he's just added a little bit of bling to it. So we'll put that, I think, down the bottom here. And I think that's going to be enough. That will do us. Now, next one I've got's a really cool colour. It's the Ghost Red by Eye Candy. And have a play with ghost colours if you can. Or I love them on black bases. It just seems to really do them justice. So I'm going to lay that up the top here. Give that a little bit more, I think. You can see I like my colours a little bit thicker than some. I really do believe it's each their own sometimes. So that is our Ghost Red by Eye Candy. Now the last thing I'm going to do is, we're going to put our cell activator over the top of everything here. So what I actually want to do is over the top of that Senshi Red, I'm going to grab our red tube paint back out. And I'm just going to do a line over the top here. So as you can see so far, nothing complicated, is it? Anyone can have a go at it. Now, I think that might do us there. So that's our colour palette to start with. So now what I'm going to do is just get rid of my paper towel and get some fresh one out. And I'm going to grab a palette knife. Now, I'm going to use quite a big one. You don't have to. You could probably just go in with something this size, because you can see that actually covers the whole colour palette that we've put down there. But I want this one, just for effects. So we'll grab out our black CA, mixed at 3 to 1. I like 3 to 1 or 4 to 1 with swipes, both work good. It's another thing where it's just personal preference. You'll see lots of people have different opinions, but I think at the end of the day, it's just what you find works best for you. Now what we will do, because we've been having this last lot of black paint we bought, has really got some pesky bubbles happening. So what we're going to do, get rid of those. Now we're going to cover our palette knife. And what I'll do, I'll load it up first, and then I'll show you exactly how much I've got on there. And what we're going to do to get extra effects. So, sorry, gone quiet, concentrating. Don't want to drip it everywhere. Alright, so all I've done, loaded it up. See, it's not really that thick. And then I've just got my 4 dots of Kin Gold CA. Let's see what effects we get, hey? So we're just going to weave it through the paint. So just get a nice little angle and walk it up and down, up and down. And let's just take it off the side of the heart. Alrighty. So, we're just going to let that sit for a minute, and we'll see what's going to pop through. So, if you find too, off the side here, you can see I probably went a little bit heavy with the CA. It's really no big deal, because what we're going to do now then, don't ever panic. Just grab our little swipe tool. And what we're going to do is just put a little bit of gold CA on that one. So just a little bit like that. And we're going to work a little bit of colour through here now, just in the gold. Alright, so we're just going to let that sit for a minute while we're going to grab out our skewer, and we are just going to walk it through the paint. Nothing difficult. Let's just go up and down. Move the spinner around for you. So you move your spinner, it makes it easier just to weave through. And let's just sit that like that for a minute. So, if you do find coloured CAs can be a little bit tricky, if you see that you've waited a little bit, we're getting some cool cells there. We're not getting a lot here yet. Just grab your straw out, stand back a little bit, and we'll just thin it out a bit. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go for a spin. So because I've got a lot of colour up the top, we're just going to move it down a little bit as we start spinning. That way we're not going to lose everything up the top. So we'll move it right down for a minute. Still centered, but just lower. And we'll just go for a slow spin at first. That way we can just get it to move down a bit for us so we don't lose it all off the top. So you can see it's starting to move down. It's starting to come down for us this way. So now what I'll do, I'm going to center it. And let's get it moving. So as I said with this one, we've got quite a thick pillow, so we really want to get that to run over the edges for us. And you see as we're opening it up, see the gold is starting to get those cells for us, which is really cool. So here's what I always call our halfway mark. So if there's anything in your piece that you're not quite happy with, now's the time to pop it up, stick it on your cup. So I'll just show you some of the cells and effects we've got to start with. Alright, so if there's any bits when you look at it and you think, really don't like that, do it while you've still got that pillow moving. Just that way, you're not going to upset and break up all your paint if you do it when it's already spun out. So I'm just going to add a little bit through here. I don't think it really needs a lot. You want to keep a little bit of elegance, and I like them cells on the edges there. So we might just bring that one down a little bit. Just give a little something. Yeah, so that bit bold, isn't it? So it just breaks it up. Now I think I'll leave the rest of that gold alone because I actually quite like that spray of cells up the top there. So now we've done that, we can get rid of our pesky bubbles. That way, if you pop them now, when you spin it out, your paint's going to fill back in where them little bubbles have popped. So we'll put him down again and take him for a spin. Now another really good trick that Darren Venom taught me is when you're using a floating pillow, once you've sort of spun it out a few times, wipe around your edges, get rid of all that excess that's actually come out. So that way when we give it the last spin, you can actually see, because we've cleaned it up, you can actually see then if anything else is still running. Because that's one way to avoid that hard out later if you get those terrible cracks just because you failed to spin it out enough. So let's give it another spin, a bit gentler now. Only because we've got some really cool cells and effects there, so we don't want to lose anything. But I can see that nothing else is really coming off that edge much. So I think we have spun her out enough. So what I'll do, I'll pop that up. No, I can see one more bit there. And there we go. So now, I'll pop that one up for you. So you can see how we ended up with those cells where it was a bit bolder on the edges there. Just when you start to spin it, sometimes that CA will open up for you. So I'll put that down. Get my magic cameraman to do a flyover for you. I'll just wipe these. Always wipe your bottom, as Nathan from the Fine Art Distraction says. Such a good saying and such a good habit to get into, because otherwise if you walk away, come back the next day and you haven't wiped off that excess paint from running down underneath, it's going to keep taking the rest of your painting with it, and it can really distort it badly and upset you the next day. So it's better just to stop, take your time, check it all out before you walk away. And it doesn't hurt too just to give it a, pick it up, have a bit of movement, see if any of that paint's still moving for you, because that way it can just save you the heartache later of coming back the next day and your cells have distorted or you've lost it over the side. So just take the time to have a look. But I will put that one down now, and I hope you enjoyed it. Something really simple, and it gives you really elegant effects. So that is it for me for tonight, today, or maybe tomorrow, depending on where you are in your part of the world. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, take care, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day, guys.